I don't know whether it would be in order for me to start by congratulating you for the good news in the family.
How do you know?
Mr. President, I'm a nation editor. It's my business to know. But I should start by congratulating you.
Thank you very much. I
this is very good
that.
news. Yes, I know you must be very happy about it.
Very excited.
Yes, yes. Secondly, I will ask a typical question about your day. How is your day like today compared to what it was on March the 3rd? How has this whole situation affected the way you operate? How do you organize your day when you have to maintain distance between nearly everyone and nearly everything that you do? How do you organize your day by Zoom rather than having people one-on-one? So how is your day like now, Your Excellency?
Well, let me say that my day is pretty much the same as it always is. The only difference, exactly as you have said, is that whereas maybe previously you were having more face-to-face engagements with people, today, unfortunately, as a result of what is facing us and this virus that is abound all over the country and all over the world, you're doing exactly the same thing but using more or less technology. You know, we start every morning with our security briefings from our various agencies. You start with the police, the military, the intelligence teams. And you get your daily update, what has happened, what has gone on through the night, were there any incidences in the borders, were there any issues across the country. And those briefs continue, and as you discuss with them individually and sometimes collectively, agree on the kind of posture that you will take for that day. Then from there, it is engagement with those charged with various responsibilities, various ministers, sometimes directly to permanent secretaries, especially in areas where I have pet projects that are very keen on seeing progress and move forward. NMS also, you know, for example, came on board just as COVID was just about to hit us. So again, you get those kind of briefings, and then during the rest of the day, you also have and continue having meetings with regional leaders, with leaders on the African continent, with global leaders, where again you continue exchanging ideas as to what is happening, how are you handling, how are you managing, focusing ourselves, especially with our development partners, on the areas where Kenya can get assistance. So the day, a little bit with less people that you come in contact with, the day is pretty much the same.
Let me also ask a question that my pastor insists that we must ask everyone that we meet in the midst of all this depression and people worried and want and desperation, which is to ask you, how are you doing? Personally, when you see all these things, you know, when you see
yes, I'm doing okay.
Yeah, the planes parked at the airport.
Yes, I am doing fine. But let us also be frank that it is a very challenging time. As a result, again, of this disease, you know, many sectors of our economy, as you said, aviation, the horticulture industry, the flower industry, the tourism industry, the hospitality industry generally, you know, the bars, the restaurants, all these are hurting, and they employ huge numbers of our people. So, of course, it's very disturbing, you know, because you imagine these are all very hardworking, capable, honest Kenyans who used to wake up in the morning and go about their normal work. And it is disturbing that now they're in a position where they are living very challenging lives. And as head of state and as leader and as the person responsible for government, it concerns me, it worries me on an ongoing basis, right? It worries me, it concerns me, yeah? And you are constantly battling with that issue of, yes, we want life to go back as quickly as possible to normal so that people can continue with their ordinary normal lives and the economy can rejig itself and get back to where it was, and these people can be back at work. But at the same time, looking and recognizing the very real danger that if we go about it too fast and without a plan, we will be digging graves, as we are seeing happening in many parts of the world today, where people have taken this disease as not serious, and we have seen the consequences of it. Yeah? So balancing between life and livelihood, these are not easy challenges, and I can admit that it has been very difficult. It has been very difficult because I know people, yeah, sometimes personally, yeah, and they're saying, why don't you open up? Then at the same time, you have other people saying, no, we don't want to open up because of the dangers, you know. And trying to balance this is not an easy course, but we try, we manage. I am grateful for the many people who are also around me, who we talk with, who are advising, who are giving input. And at the end of the day, we just want to ensure, first and foremost, which is, as I have always said, the priority of any government, to protect life and property. So we must focus ourselves on our ability to protect life and property. And as much as the economy is also important, but that must come secondary to life, because, you know, there is no point of having an economy in and amongst people who don't have life. So it's a difficult balance, but we try, and we're pushing, and we're very grateful to God, because Kenya has not, so far, God willing, so long as we all continue to observe the protocols that have been set, Kenya has not lost as many lives as we have seen in other parts of the world.
This one again is for a favorite quote from my pastor. I'm talking about the pastor a lot these days. This is the season for pastors. And he quotes a guy called Max Dupree, saying that the first responsibility of a leader is to define reality. So for the millions of Kenyans who are going about their very difficult lives at the moment, how would you paint the picture for them?
I want to paint a reality picture that tells us, right? Yes. We're a very young population, right? And as a result of that, we are able somehow to bear this virus a lot better than much older populations. And as a consequence, much younger people feel, why should I bear the responsibility? I want to go about my business, yeah? I'll survive. And as to give a personal experience, you know, I have a young son also, yeah? Not young, but he's a young man, who happened to be, was traveling to Mombasa with his mother when all of this happened, so they were caught out in Mombasa. They are still there. Huh? And because of now the confinement rules that we have put, they can't move back. And he decided one day that he wants to go out. And I asked him a personal question, and I told him, you know, it's fine, because it was reported to me by some other fellows that he had done that. Huh? So I said, okay, you've gone out, right? You've had your fun and you've enjoyed yourself, right? But now you've come back and you're with your grandmother. Your grandmother is 80 plus, right? If something happens to your grandmother as a result of what you have done, yeah, how will you live with yourself? Because it's not about me. It's not about listening to me. It's about how you will live with yourself, right? So the reality is that the situation that we have is a very personal an individual responsibility. It is not about what the government is telling you to do. It is not about what the president is telling you to do. It is not about what the Minister of Health is telling you to do. The reality of today, is about what are you yourself telling yourself to do to protect not just yourself, but those you love. That is the reality.
Let me just ask the question of the risk assessment that is being done and how you're balancing again those two issues of life and livelihood. And in your own perspective, how do you see it playing out? When do you think it would be safe for some level of normalcy, if we can call it normalcy? When can we
I think like I said when I spoke last weekend, we can't be in lockdown forever.
That's true.
All right?
That's true.
We have to reopen our economy somehow.
Yeah.
All right? As much as we're seeing cases rising, we're seeing more people recovering and not so many people passing on as a result of this virus. So, moving forward, and as we come closer to reopening our economy, I want to go back to what I've just told you. This shall be a factor of our personal responsibility, because we have seen those countries that have basically reopened. And what has happened? We have seen a second wave. We have seen a surge of this disease. Germany is a perfect example. Singapore is another example where they had really managed to contain it, but when they started opening up, we saw a resurgence. So, as we move there, how disciplined are we as Kenyans, right, in maintaining and observing the protocols? Are we, if we say we're going to open up and say, well, we're opening up, everybody must wear a mask, yes, as you go about your duties, yeah? Are you going to be coughing into your armpit, as we have been told to do? Are you going to be social distancing, as we have been told to do? Because that is going to become the new reality. We are all very hopeful that a vaccine will be found, but even if a vaccine is found, by the time it gets to some of us,
It's going to take time.
It's going to take some time, right? So it boils down again to this issue that I'm saying, it is about my responsibility. My responsibility, first and foremost, to myself. My responsibility to those I love and who are around me. My responsibility to my neighborhood. My responsibility to my country, right? That is going to become the new social norm. And if we are able to abide by this new social norm, I strongly believe that we can get back to as close a place as possible to where we were, all right? But we must recognize, right, that we're still a long way from it. So, it is your individual choice, it is your individual responsibility that will determine how successful we shall be as a country to defeat this common enemy that we have. An enemy that knows no color, that knows no tribe, that knows no age. Because even as we are saying, it is affecting those who are much older more, we also know that young people are also getting affected and are also dying. All right? But the big debate is, okay, so will they be able to appreciate and understand, right, that going back to school, going back to your lessons, going back and facing exams, that you will also be going home and you will also be engaging with others, Will you be able to take on your responsibility? These are some of the things that will determine the future of our country. You know, we're a country that believes, trusts, and worships God. We love our Sundays. We love how we mingle. We love how we come together as families, as Christian families, as Muslim families on Fridays, right? But at what risk? At what cost? Yeah? You know?